Number 34. At the point in your timing when this project was initiated, there was a very small window in which to begin the process. Once the idea was grasped and acted upon, the next window encompassing moving into the process was much larger. This step allowed for the contact of various new individuals to be made aware and to continue the enlarging of the window. The addition of other minds grasping the basic idea and focusing their intention of participating has continued opening the window to allow for the continuing inclusion of additional participants. The expansiveness of this movement allows the process to come into harmony with the expression of divine order, which is expansive in its very nature. The momentum of the outward movement of this information forms the basis for continuing this harmonious flow and ensures the divine participation that is essential to success. It is important that you realize the key to success is in expansive outward movement. It is the combination of grasping the various aspects of this intended change of attitude and focusing it through the needed number of points of individual awareness. The importance of these aspects is the establishment of an outward flow and maintaining this flow. New contacts must be made by as many of the recently contacted individuals as possible to keep this expansive flow in motion. As memories are keyed to think of other appropriate people not yet contacted, then ones can continue to make additional contacts. This ensures that those without commitment to carry the letter to Garcia do not impede this essential outward expansion. If these messages were to be sent out to new contacts that are considered to be ones sure to follow through and actually continue the flow, it would perhaps be appropriate to send the first few as an introductory packet. A cover note suggesting that if theirs is a real commitment, then on request more of the messages will be provided. This would allow a spread of the cost for reproduction and mailing so that it would not be burdensome to a few. Each committed one would in all probability make only a few appropriate contacts. This also allows for anonymity and protection. It is assumed that only those known and deemed appropriate would be contacted so that discussions could be carried on in the groups of 3s, 7s, and 12s. This is to again remind you of the numerical power available within divine mathematical order. It is entirely appropriate that attempts to formulate a possible statement of purpose should be made at small group levels. The more of these attempts that are made, the sooner the perfect one will stand forth. When that happens, that group will be totally aware that completion has been accomplished for that phase. What to do next will also be drawn into that group awareness attracted by the power of the fusion of all the input from the totality of the groups. Here again you are reminded that thought thinks within and upon itself when it is in divine harmony. How many participants are necessary for this parenting phase? That depends on three factors: who, how quickly the phase is initiated, and the productive discussions actually taking place. The ball is in your court. Responses in terms beyond intellectualizing the shift in perception are the keys. We can participate further when you return the ball to our court. In the meantime, we are limited, in this project, to this flow of information and encouragement. The overall view from our perspective is somewhat encouraging. The plans of the interesting participants of opposite purpose continue right on schedule. It is important that the view of our focus is one of action and not reaction. It is in the ability of our group to have a balanced dual perspective that spreads with the awareness of our project. This will sustain the momentum. There must be an awareness of the awesome inevitability of the probable success of their plan and a balancing awareness that ours is the only shift available that offers the power to bring release from the intended horrendous future. If followed with dedication and resolve through application of the universal laws of attraction, focused intention to create a new paradigm of experience and allowance through lack of resistance, return to balance and harmony must be the end result. Only through this format can the help so ardently sought by suffering humanity be provided. All of the above discussion of bringing others into the awareness of the possibility of creating a new paradigm of experience for this planetary focus, when simply stated, is that the return to personal responsibility is the only avenue leading to success. As individuals assume responsibility, group responsibility through cooperation is the inevitable result. Those unable to move beyond the desire for personal material gain and the need to control the proceedings and the outcome will soon drop by the wayside. If discernment is used in choosing appropriate contacts, those may be considered but not contacted. If at first appropriate names do not come into your awareness, as you continue to desire to participate, names and coincidental contacts will happen. The law of attraction works. Just hold the desire in your consciousness, especially at times of least attention to other activities. As you retire, when you awaken, at the end of meditation or intentional prayer times are appropriate. The more often it comes into your mind and you feel strongly about desiring to be part of this positive exercise in participation with the Creator within His modus operandi, the greater the contribution you will make. Commitment and resolve are the buoyant qualities that hold this desire on the surface of your consciousness so that opportunities for you to participate are attracted to you. Through this process you will indeed be a blessing and a focused beam of light in this darkened world. A spotlight spreads into a larger and larger circle at the end of the beam. A greater understanding through your choice to become a part of this project will allow you to spread this light of understanding in the midst of a darkening world. Your inner confidence and the peace of knowing that something powerfully new is already being created as the present reality is changing is a powerful positive pull. This attitude will attract to you those desiring change and ready to transcend the victim state. You will be the pebble within your own pond of experience. Your service will continue to expand to other levels of experience. Don't plan on a dull and boring life from this point on. Your participation in this project will bring with it personal rewards. Recognized sainthood is not one of them. Changes in consciousness will happen as you participate and as your body is able to accommodate them. Those of you who continue to dishonor the living temple of your spirit will miss out on some of these rewards. Caffeine, carbonation, a diet of prepared, overcooked foods, etc. require you to reconsider your priorities. Many of you are without a mate that results in choosing to eat out. Consider your choices and opt for food cooked for shorter periods and include raw foods. If you eat at home, many supermarkets now carry some organic foods. Overeating causes the body to use its energy digesting rather than using it for more productive modes. Smaller amounts of nourishing foods allow the body to use its available energy in other activities and to possibly require shorter sleep periods. Much is being asked of you, but knowing you incarnated here in this lifetime to participate in this project allows you to stop wondering, why me, why here and why now? This in itself will bring you to change your priorities. As participation in it becomes your priority, those activities that are not important to it will shift out of your life. It is the way it works. Will this take over your life? We would hope not. It is where the action is and so your life will take it over. A different and energizing perspective. The taking on of personal responsibility and moving within the flow of creation for the purpose of expanding creation, bring rewards of a personal nature as well to the larger picture. It is a most enjoyable experience. As you participate you will remember how it feels to be in balance and harmony, and this will assist you in knowing and making your necessary contributions to the wholeness of the project. To bless is to be blessed indeed. Number 35. It is interesting from our perspective to see that you are busily building a reservoir of energy that is standing in stagnation. There is a growing number of people aware of the Paradigm Project, but few if any have sat down to play at composing what might be their personal idea of a statement of purpose. It is as though you must wait until you meet in some type of formal meeting to accomplish anything. Where is personal responsibility in this response? It would seem to me that bringing your personally defined idea along with you would bring a different level of intent to a meeting to define a purpose. It was hoped that this would be a natural outcome of the suggestion that you begin this process for your own salvation. Do not assume that your ground crew status will be enough. You are in third-dimensional experience and are governed by it the same as all other inhabitants of the planet Earth. If personal responsibility is the keynote, then operate within it, especially with regard to the project if you hope to achieve its purpose. We are finding it difficult from the perspective of our experience to comprehend just how difficult it is for you to experience within the vibrational level of Earth. The combination of planned lowering techniques being applied to all aspects of earthly existence is inevitably lowering the vibration in measurable calibrations. It is the concerted effects of the multiple techniques that are accomplishing this. The critical mass of humans now within the control of these combined techniques will soon be reached. It is important for you to have the understanding that the critical mass point needed for evil intent is different than it is for intent of upliftment. This cannot be calculated in simple percentages, for the degree of evolvement of each soul and its extensions must be considered in this calculation. As the vibratory rate descends, the critical mass point ascends, while the opposite is true from our point of view. Lowering the vibratory rate is much more difficult than raising it. A simple realization can cause a jump in vibratory rate. So why don't we just trigger a big planetary realization and fix the whole thing? As the vibratory rate lowers, the brain synapses become more and more impaired. Also, the use of sugar substitutes such as equal is slowly destroying the ability of the brain to function as they destroy the nerve endings. These can and do cross the blood-brain barrier. Further, low-fat/high sugar-bearing carbohydrate diets are starving the brain cells. All of this is part of the plan. Remember, they understand the functions of the physical body well enough to be able to develop techniques to weaken the connection of the being to its vibratory source in hopes it can be broken at their moment of choosing. May we stress that you think carefully about this information and that you read your labels and take personal responsibility in the care of the bodily functions necessary to participate in this project. Beyond that which was mentioned in this message and the previous one, the remaining critical factor is the pH level of your body and your blood. If you are serious about wanting to return to higher dimensional experience, then you are required to master the third dimension, and the completion of this project is recommended as your ticket. Personal responsibility is being responsible for your personal expression of this life experience, starting with your body temple. To do that now you will need to think independently of what is being touted in your media and by the medical community. Even most alternative professionals are versed in less than holistic understanding and offer only partial assistance with their expensive products. Massage is a pleasant interlude but is not a replacement for the personal responsibility of regular gentle exercise. Are we lecturing you? What is offered is by way of guidance. If you take it in any other way, then you are reacting through the distorted ego function. It depends on whether you can act rather than intellectualize. The ego has been distorted so that it loves to pontificate and to excuse so that personal responsibility can be avoided. It is so much easier to talk than to do when changing established patterns is involved. It can be overcome by ignoring it and placing the focus beyond the chaos of change and instead on visualizing the end result. Pictures bypass the intellectualizing process and are the true language of the brain. In order to come up with a statement of purpose, the parenting groups must spend personal time visualizing, dreaming, what each can conceive through imagination, going within the mind of God, and then attempting to put it into concise wording. The process can begin with words, then mental movies, then words again, etc. This would bring into practice purposeful meditation, a wonderful tool of higher dimensions. I believe it has been referred to as becoming that which you desire. Those known as shamans and oracles use this technique and walk in two worlds. There are nuances of the universal laws that support the intended purpose of experiencing your way back to the source of all. It is an adventure offering challenge and joy far beyond third-dimensional physics cycle challenges. These leave the empty feelings that ones feel can only be filled with more challenging experiences that bring the same frustrating results of emptiness. The paths of learning are blocked and mankind on earth is left chasing its non-existent tail and being led in a downward spiral. Continuing in our focus of accepting personal responsibility, it is important to consider another aspect. The ideal of personal responsibility is perceived as being heavy on the responsibility aspect. It would serve humanity better if the accent were on the personal aspect. Again, personal has been distorted to assume the meaning of selfishness, which is translated from the deliberate focus of denying that one can create independence and must take what is needed from someone else. The bankers on your planet illustrate this law of the proposed negative system and carry out this concept to the extreme. This group is not only visualizing their planned result, but is living it now. This increases the available energy required for their plan to move forward. Your Bible has a statement within it that reads something like, "The rain falls on the just and the unjust." How do you feel about that? The rain refers to the universal laws working within the focus of either polarity. You are programmed to think that the negative pole is always bad. Within the context of the whole, this is not true. There is no electricity, energy moving, without both poles. It is distorted use beyond the norms of balance that are at issue in this instance. Personal has the true meaning of the harmonious expression of the fragment of creator energy expressing radiantly by continuing the flow of expansive energy into whatever dimension it is within. The word was devised within the focus of referral to the fragments as the family of God, personal. Again, the masculine reference because it is within the perception of expansiveness being a masculine aspect. In other words, personal responsibility exemplifies the willingness to be a flow of expansive energy within the realm of your pattern of experience. With the cycle of energy surrounding you moving in an opposite directional flow, you must swim upstream, so to speak, to accomplish what you intend. Hopefully these messages will provide a convenient rock on which you can stand above this flow in order to get your equilibrium, gain strength through resolve, and then start to gather the rocks necessary to build a dam to divert the flow in a new direction. Yours is a holy project reflecting the holistic nature of how it all works. Within your sequential focus it must come together piece by piece, but it may not, in true reality, work that way. This is why it is so important that you trust the process, especially when you think things are not working as they should be. Just do your part and all will come into place. Trust. End number 35.